Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and thank you so much for joining me for a visit to Boston, Massachusetts, which is the Massachusetts state capital. We're going to get things started at Boston Common, the oldest city park in the United States. Just to the west of Boston Common is the Boston Public Garden. You see a statue of Edward Everett Hale, famous for writing The Man Without a Country. The Boston Public Garden may seem a little familiar if you're a fan of the film Good Will Hunting. One of the benches here was used for a very famous scene with Robin Williams and Matt Damon from that movie. And it's very popular, there's almost always someone sitting on it. In the distance there is the John Hancock Tower, the city's tallest building at 790 feet tall. From here we're going to get started on the Freedom Trail. First up is going to be the Old State House, which is the site of the Boston Massacre. Now entering the building is a fee and I didn't go in. There is a historic marker in front of the Old State House, but actually the Boston Massacre occurred in the middle of State Street that's next to the Old State House. Moving along, we'll head over to Faneuil Hall, a historic marketplace and meeting hall. That was the site of several speeches from Samuel Adams and James Otis, among others, in the lead up to the Declaration of Independence from Great Britain. I believe the decision to participate in the Boston Tea Party was made in this hall, but the main thing for me here is that George Washington stood in this building, and while the building was expanded over the years, this is the original building. George Washington gave a speech here to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and to me it's just really special to be able to stand in the very same place that George Washington once stood. There's a look at a map of the Freedom Trail. I made a mistake and got all of these locations off TripAdvisor and plotted them on the Google Maps to navigate the city. What I didn't know is that on the sidewalks there's an actual painted red line that you can follow all through downtown Boston that will guide you to all the stops. Now we're not going to hit everyone, and I was a little disappointed that the Boston Tea Party site is not on the trail, but I do have a couple more cool stops still. Let's continue outside. Another thing I missed here as you exit Faneuil Hall is somewhere around here on a bench there's a statue of Red Auerbach, the famous basketball coach. As we cross the Charles River, there you see the TD Garden where the Celtics play. Now we'll head over to what I feel was the highlight of my quick day trip to Boston, and that is the USS Constitution, which is the oldest floating commissioned vessel in the entire world, dating back to 1797. There is one older ship, the HMS Victory, located in England, is about 30 years older, but that ship has been in dry dock for quite a while. Moving below, you can see if you're a taller person, you will need to duck down a little. There's a list of all of the captains of the Constitution. As I mentioned, the Constitution is a commissioned and active warship in the U.S. Navy, and it has a crew of about 75 sailors. The Constitution is the only remaining of the original 6 frigates that were constructed at the creation of the U.S. Navy. Stepping aboard the ship, it's really like hopping into a time machine. Just an incredible experience. The ship has 44 guns, and it took about 10 men to operate each one of them. The nickname of the ship is Old Ironsides because I believe during the battle with the HMS Geary, cannonballs struck the hull of the Constitution and actually bounced off, and that's how the Constitution got its name, Old Ironsides. The ship was in some really incredible battles during the War of 1812. I believe it captured 5 or 6 enemy ships during that war. Now, I was too tall to really go to any of the lower decks. Below us, there's a bunch of hammocks where the crew would sleep, and there's also additional storage. We're going to move along. Leaving the ship, I didn't head over to Bunker Hill because, as you can see there's some construction. So now we're going to make our way back. Okay, so we just checked out the USS Constitution. Pretty cool, just stumbled upon that. Now let's go check out Paul Revere, and let's see if we can get a good shot of the skyline from across the river from the Longfellow Bridge. Let's get it. Making our way back to the van, I did stop by Paul Revere's house, who famously rode to warn residents of the coming of the British. Unfortunately, the house was closed, so we can only look around the outside. I'll put a picture here I borrowed from the National Park Service showing the other side of the house and the courtyard. Paul Revere's house dates back to the 1600s and is the oldest house in Boston. I wish I could have seen more of the house, and there is a fee for visiting, but you definitely want to include this stop on any trip to Boston as well. I was hoping to get a good view of sunset from the Longfellow Bridge here that spans the Charles River and separates Boston from Cambridge, Massachusetts. But you can see there with the clouds, sunset really wasn't going to happen, and those clouds are also the reason why the stop in Boston is so short, because this entire time during the trip along the East Coast, I've been fighting to stay ahead of a weather system. Still, from the Longfellow Bridge, you were treated to an incredible view of the Boston skyline. Again, you can see the John Hancock Tower, and it was really neat seeing all the sailboats there in the Charles River. From what I was able to see on my short trip, Boston is an incredible city with many historic landmarks, but it did really surprise me just how much larger New York or Chicago are than Boston, and Central Park really just dwarfs Boston Common. If you've enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it so much if you please give me a like. Please consider subscribing if you would like to see more videos, and in the comments below, please let me know your favorite Boston attraction. That's going to do it for Boston. I appreciate you guys watching so much, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks and take care. Bye.